everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about doing library research. For those of you who are off campus, it's going to be a little bit different of a process, or for those of you who are off campus and can't make it to the library. It's going to be a little bit different of a process for those of you who can actually make it to the library. If you look on the course syllabus, which is listed under the course document section of the course website, you'll notice toward the second page, I believe it is, there's a research information section. If you're off campus and you can't make it to campus to use the library database or the library resource materials, Chrissy Earp in the library has agreed to help you guys out with the research. So you'll need to get in contact with her. I've got her email address listed here, but you can find her phone number on the library's website as well. And she's agreed to help those of you who can't come to the library out with your research. But of course you'll want to have some idea of what your topic's going to be before you contact her, what you're going to be writing about, so that she has some guidance. For those of you who are able to make it to the library, and even those of you who aren't, this is going to be some advice that's going to help you throughout your college career, not just in your literature course. And this is just the basics of doing library research, the basics of doing database research. If you'll see here, I'm on the JSTOR website, and I'm able to access this through the University of Nebraska at Lincoln's library, since I can't access the Wilkes Library remotely either. But when you access it through the Wilkes Library, it should look pretty much the same. So I'm going to show you some of the basics of doing library research using databases. And even though I'm just using JSTOR, these tips are going to be useful for pretty much any database that you search through the library's website. Alright, so this is the first search page, the advanced search page. You'll notice we have a couple of lines here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what these multiple lines mean here in just a second, but I want to start off with giving you an example of just a regular generic search. Let's say I know I want to write a paper on Kate Chopin. And I decided I'm going to go to the library's website and I'm just going to search for Kate Chopin. Well, that search returns 3,437 results. So unless you just have a lot of time on your hands and you're really bored, you're probably not going to want to search through that many results. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to overwhelm you and frustrate you. So what I want to talk to you about is how to narrow these searches down. And this is the single most helpful thing when it comes to doing library research, is learning and adapting your searches so that you can narrow them down. Like I said before, you have two boxes on generally on a search page for a library database. And you can add as many additional boxes as you want. And what these boxes allow you to do is string different searches together so that you narrow your results down further and further. First of all, let's look at the top box. We searched for Chopin, Kate, and then we searched for full text, which means when the database searched the articles, it searched the entire full text of the article for the words Kate and Chopin. If I had selected author, it would have only searched the author lists for Kate Chopin. If it had searched item title, it would have only searched for articles that have the words Kate and Chopin in the item title. Abstract, caption, same thing, you get the idea. Over here, this is an operator, and this allows you to start narrowing down what search results are returned by adding extra phrases to the search. So let's say, for example, I decided I wanted articles that were only about Kate Chopin and the story of an hour, which was the short story that we read recently. So what I did was, let me go back, I typed in Kate Chopin in the first box. In the second box I typed the story of an hour. This is changed to and, which means when it searches, it's going to search for articles that have Kate Chopin in the full text and the story of an hour in the full text. And these quotation marks are here not just because this is the title of a short story, but because in database terms, these quotation marks actually have a meaning. Whenever you take a phrase of words and put them in quotation marks, it indicates to the database that you want it to search those words together only. If I had taken these out of quotation marks, when it did the search, it will search for instances of the word the, story, of, and hour separately. So it might find the, and then 2 lines later it might find the word story, and then 2 lines later it might find the word of, and then 3 lines later it might find the word an, hour. It's not going to keep the words together. When you put quotation marks around it, it's going to search for those words together in the order that you put them in. So that makes sense when you're searching for titles. So let's go back and look at those results again. Well, just by narrowing it down to Kate Chopin and the Story of an Hour, we have 52 results rather than 3,467, I believe it was, results that we had before. So we look here and we start seeing some of the results that we have. 57 is a lot better. It's still quite a bit, but it is definitely a lot better. So you can start looking at some of the titles of the articles that we see. Kate Chopin, A Primary Bibliography, Kate Chopin's Quarrel with Darwin Before the Awakening, The Sparkle of Diamonds, Kate Chopin's Uses of Subtext in Stories and Novels. Now, all of these articles are going to contain, obviously, stuff about Kate Chopin, but they're also going to contain stuff specifically about the Story of an Hour. Alright, so let's say we've got an even narrower idea of what we want to write about when we go into the database. Let's say that we know we want to write about Kate Chopin and we want to write about women. Okay, that's a little bit broad, but we're going to start right there. So we've got Kate Chopin in the full text, The Story of an Hour in the full text, and we've got women. Now, in this case, I want the word women to show up in the actual item title because I want the article to actually be about Kate Chopin, The Story of an Hour, and women. Now I'm going to click search and I have 8 results. And if you look here, the second result, Kate Chopin, Complex Images of Women. That's the article title, and it's an article about Kate Chopin and her representation of women. From Women's Prison, the Third World Women's Narratives of Prison. Kate Chopin, and it has to do with prison, well, women in prison. Teaching about women and violence. Kate Chopin again. So we've narrowed it down by topic once again. And we have even fewer articles to sort through. In this case, 8. Now we can take this even further. Let's do Kate Chopin, The Story of an Hour, women, we'll add another field. Or female. And I can spell, I swear. So we're going to look for articles that either have the word women or the word female in the item title. And the reason that I put this asterisk right here, in database terms, that asterisk allows the database to search for variations on the word female. So it's not just going to search for the word female, but it's also going to search for the word females, so the plural of female. You put the asterisk there just to indicate that you want the database to search for this root word and then any word or any variation of that word, so any other letters attached to that word, it will continue to search for it. So the search that we have here, we're searching for Kate Chopin. We're searching for articles that specifically mention the story of an hour and that specifically mention women or the word female. So we've changed the operator here from and to or. Okay. Whoa! Suddenly we went from having 8 articles to 10,934. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Need to go back and look and see what my search terms, I think they might have gotten changed. But let's take a look at the few of the results real quick. You look here, we have an article specifically, again this is going to at least talk about Kate Chopin, and it talks about female presence, female preference, courtship, the superseded female dilemma. You've got all kinds of articles here that you can search through to help you find more information about that specific topic. And I'm guessing the reason the results went up this time was because we added that word female, and apparently that is the operative word when it comes to searching for stuff about Kate Chopin. So let's do that again. Let me make sure I had item title listed in here. Or female. Whoops. No. Asterisk. There we go. Item title. And we're going to change the Kate Chopin to item title as well. That's going to help us narrow it down just a little bit more. So here we've got Kate Chopin. It has to be in the item title, the words Kate Chopin. Women or female both have to be, or either or have to be in the item title as well. So we'll do a search again. And there we go, 10,930. So we can see that clearly there's been a lot of stuff written about Kate Chopin and women or females. And that's what this is going to give you, is some, or lots of articles in this case, about Kate Chopin and her representation of women or females. And you know, when you want to start narrowing this down even more, what you can do is you can actually come into the database and do some of these basic searches, and then you can actually start sorting through the articles. And you know, just looking at some of the titles will give you ideas of places to narrow down the search even more. Another thing that you can do, you know, after you've entered your search terms, if you'll scroll down, you can narrow your search down by discipline. Well, in this case, we're in a literature course, so if we look down here, you'll see that there's a category for language and literature. Like I said, JSTOR catalogs articles for lots of different disciplines. So it's going to have lots of different journals listed. And since you want stuff that's specific to literature, if you check that literature box like I did right down here, and then click search, that's going to narrow your results down as well. In this case, we're down to 1,199. So just by checking that box, we effectively cut out 9,000 results. That's pretty good. And most of these will be far more applicable to what you're actually trying to do. Okay, so that is some basics of doing library research via databases, and databases are the way to go in this day and age. A lot of libraries aren't even keeping physical copies of most of these journals anymore. They're only keeping them in library databases. And of course, if you want to go do library research on books and such, you can do that as well. But when it comes to doing literary research, many times books are a good place to start, because books will give you some general ideas of topics, and there's even these neat little books that are written about specific authors that have bibliographies that sort of give you a catalog of some of the major articles that have been written on specific topics about the author. Those are a good place to go as well, but generally speaking, the library databases are going to be your best resource for researching for this course. So if you've got any questions, as always, just email me and let me know.